Howdy partners. So I'm getting off to a great start here. Forgotten my drink. Forgotten my drink. Looks like rain. It's getting dark. We're just going out on a bike ride. Hello Crow. I've got the wrong trousers on. I've got my winter long leggings on because my other ones are in the wash and my legs are sweating like mad even though it's not that warm. Things will be changing up in the forest soon. They're erecting some giant new wind turbines up there, and all them little paths and roads that go up there on the bike with, they're all being widened and putting gravel on them so they can get the truck up with the new turbines. And the blades on the new turbines are 70 metres long. So that means people will be coming into my little world and changing it. Let's hope this cloud cover breaks up a bit and we get a bit of a sunset tonight. So what did you all think about that little kid in the surf? That little toddler laying in the sand. Pitiful picture, eh? When I first saw that on, I think it was in a newspaper and it was pixelled out slightly, and I thought I won't bother looking for that. I don't really want to see that. But then within an hour or two it was everywhere on the internet, on Facebook, and people have uploaded it, photoshopped it, turned it into works of art, turned it into sand castles of it. So it's everywhere and it's become one of those iconic pictures, like the little girl fleeing from the explosion in Cambodia with her skin flayed off her back, or the East German soldier jumping to freedom over the barbed wire fence in East Berlin. So it's just become another one of those iconic images. And if it'll do any good, I don't know. Whether it'll just desensitise us even more. It's like I don't look at any of those videos, like beheading videos or stuff like that, and I just don't want to have them images in my head. And I don't know if that picture of that little boy will do anything useful, because the life or the half-life of things going on in the world, things you read in the media, it's about 2 weeks half-life maximum, and then something else comes up, and like the eye of Sauron, the world's eye looks at something else then, and the thing that was looked at before is forgotten. Now, loads of people have wrote great war songs, and maybe John Lennon or Bob Marley or a whole host of people who have written really good anti-war songs, anti-war books. They can say it all better than me. But just to me it seems like we've got to have a situation change. And we can't keep going this double way of thinking, this self-deception of the 5 big countries in the world, or the G7 countries. They're the ones who manufacture all the weapons. And they're the ones who sell all the weapons to the third world countries. And that's the bottom line, that's the bottom deal. And until that stops, then shit's going to happen all the time, and it's going to be constantly hitting the fan and blowing all over us. That's just the way it's going to happen. So in my mind we've got 2 very simple options. First of all, Option number one is we make a fortress Europe, carry on selling all the weapons to third world countries, but make a fortress Europe with 30-foot fences with razor wire electrified, and make a kind of a giant gated community of Europe, and keep out all the poor people with guards and stun guns and minefields. That's option number one, and that's the option we're going to have to go for if we carry on with our way of doing things at the moment. Spreading all these WMDs all over the place, machine guns and bullets and grenades, all that military hardware getting into the hands of young kids. Option number two, we've got to change the disparity between the poor lands and the rich lands. We've got to share out the money a bit more, and then those people will have no incentive to come to a rich country when their place is totally poor. Pretty simple really, isn't it? And the trouble is, it sounds too communist, and communism's bad. But unless you want perpetual war and more anti-terrorism rules, what we're going to end up with is a Europe, fortress Europe, and we'll be all sitting like prisoners behind a big wall in a big prison of Europe, all eating larks' tongues and sipping champagne. But we won't be able to stick it out because those billions of hordes of poor people, they'll eventually smash the wall down and overrun us. And we probably deserve it as well. Some wise guy has said, Wu Zedong, I can't remember his name, but eventually you become like your enemy. When you're fighting somebody, you become like your enemy. And we've seen that with the when they went after Saddam and Bin Laden and Gaddafi. They became like the enemy, and they started talking like the enemy, and they opened torture camps, and basically just became like the thing they were trying to fight. And that's why I'm not so super sure it's a good idea of having that picture of that kid all over the internet, because it desensitizes us and it makes us barbaric, like those people who put up pictures of people getting their head chopped off. And it's a slippery slope, and we all end up sliding down it and end up in the shit at the bottom. I suppose we've got to stop thinking like sheep and just following what they read in the papers and what the flavour of the week is, and start thinking for ourselves a bit and ask ourselves, is this the kind of world we want to live in? A couple of weeks ago, papers like the Daily Mail, right-wing papers, they was almost getting a bit Nazi feeling how they were going on about the immigrants storming the Calais, and but now since that photo the tune has changed a little bit, and a distinction has been made between refugees and migrants. Refugees, people who are leaving war zones like Syria, and possibly Libya. I'm not sure if they're classed as refugees or migrants yet. But that's the two sorts now. So refugees good, migrants bad. Which is a bit weird. But it's still the same thing really, you're just splitting hairs. What it is basically is people who are running from, well, the ones from Africa mostly are running from corruption and poverty, and the ones from Middle East countries are running from corruption and religion and bombs and you can't blame these migrant guys for trying to make a better life coming to Europe. So I'm not going to moan about it anymore or talk about it anymore even. I've done it enough times, I've said it enough times. Always the same thing, trying to stop war with war. Never works. Always comes out worse in the end. As all the demographic graphs get to the top, population explosions. We all knew this sort of thing was going to happen, so no one should be surprised really. There's a bit in John Steinbeck, Grapes of Wrath, and right at the end of the book, which is a book about migrants really, people who were forced out of their homes, tracted out of their homes in the Midwest and all went over to California to try and find work in old little hillbilly old Fords and stuff like that. And at the end of the book there's a baby that's born, stillborn, because malnutrition, and one of the uncles is asked to go and bury the baby, and instead of burying it he puts it in an orange crate and sails it down the flooded river so it goes down into the valley so it can send a message to all the rich farmers down in the valley. And that's quite similar to that kid on the beach, I think, that toddler on the beach. It's a shame that it has to be a message and the messenger has got to get killed as well. It's just the only thing people seem bothered about now is worshipping money even more. Looking at pictures of celebrities swigging down £20,000 bottles of champagne on yachts, and that's what everyone seems to aspire for, just getting a few million and living like a lord. Anyway, after all the doom and gloom of this video, one little thing is the little hut has been cleaned of graffiti, all gone, all nice and clean again. It's like someone's had a party here last night. Well, not too bad, is it? Look at that, can't be much party people. Even left a good shot of Jack Daniels. If I was an alcoholic, I would be swigging that, wouldn't I? So I guess the only answer we can do is, like, as I said at the beginning, share the money out a bit in education. Educate people and teach people not to hate. Teach them to respect each other. That's the only way it's going to improve. I have to teach the kids. And if the kids only see the only way out is running around with a Kalashnikov and thinking they're big men, well, things are never going to get better that way, are they? So that's enough from me. I've ranted on and, you know, what can you say? So I'm just going to hang around here for another 10 minutes and watch that sunset and snap a few shots. Have a great day.